it kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go lefty.
No, we're talking about the players. That's tournament champion into the podcast.
There he is, right there.
Oh, he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to Down Lane Podcast. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. I'm your host, Kyle Haines, and with me is the assistant to the host, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Scaccia.
Thanks, everyone. It's good to be here. Took me a while to get here today. I'm really happy that I could be here to help support your podcast today.
Our podcast?
I was pretending I was a guest.
Oh, okay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from our channel. Share with your friends. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all of the
socials.
Things. The socials. Yeah, sure. All of the things. Just go there and like and subscribe and do all the things that you youngins do these days. And don't forget, you can email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. And you can send us some show suggestions, ball review suggestions, and whatnot. And don't forget to comment to us during the show.
I love to answer your questions.
Yes.
Especially everybody else's questions but Kyle's.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, comment to us during the show. We'll answer your questions live on the air. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about a local tournament here at Town and Country. A little Masters update. Just talk about who won. U.S. Open, which is going on now. And then Vegas, baby. We're getting ready for Vegas. We are going.
We're still talking about it.
We're going to talk about it for weeks and weeks and weeks because there's a lot to do to prep for Vegas.
Weeks and weeks and weeks. That's going to bring us to Vegas.
Yes.
Touchdown.
Very many weeks to go.
I know.
So, yeah. What were you doing this week?
It was a great week, Kyle. Super excited because we practiced a little bit. Bowled this week in the finals for my league over here with the T-Ray. We're bowling for 1,200 against the Iron Lotus and Zach Bailey. So it should be an interesting match. What else? I mean, what else could there be? That's all I'm focused on right now.
Winning that
is beating the Iron Lotus.
Larry Gagliardi. Junior.
Iron Lotus, not junior. Is it junior?
I think it's junior.
I don't know if it's junior. Larry, if you're listening, because he listened last week, let me know if you're junior. But he's getting a new ball to face me this week. He's ready. Yeah, he actually was like, hey, I'm going to get a new ball so I can play you.
Good. I hope he just slams them Tuesday night. Or what? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday this week?
It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday. Wednesday, I might have to bowl Wednesday, too, if my Monday night team wins Monday. Holy Moses. Lots of bowling. Exciting time.
You're just so good on these house shots.
I know. It's really, it's unbelievable how good I am on these house shots. I mean, I've only got like 2 boards of area. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we know.
I know you watched it last week. Hey, if everybody who guessed last week who was going to score higher because I had to bowl Kyle, shot 817. 4-3. Kyle was not a happy camper.
I was not a happy camper. You could see that on the Instagram.
The
Instantgram. Yeah, no, but you bowled very well, or I should say scored very well.
I thought I bowled pretty well too. Are you kidding me?
No, you bowled pretty good. Yeah.
I bowled pretty good, yeah.
Miss any spares?
No, I was clean.
I missed a bunch of spares. And I also did not bowl well, but I'm hoping that I got my game turned around. Came in practice last night.
You did?
Yep. That was working pretty good on that shot that we had down last night.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's get into what we're going to talk about this week. This weekend, we have a doubles tournament coming up in honor of a good friend of ours,
Johnny Drexel.
Yes.
The Dragon. Yeah, he did the pro shop for a few years. When I came back to bowling, helped me get back into it. He taught me a lot about how to drill bowling balls, layouts, all the technical side of things. So what I preach is basically what he was telling me. And of course you learn a little bit more as you go along and stuff like that. But he was kind of like the guy who was the base for the lab.
Yeah.
He was the base. He was the original scientist.
The original scientist. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do a doubles tournament for him. He always liked doubles. If you were here this year, we did a big Baker's doubles tournament. The one that was huge. That was kind of his thing. That was his tournament. He helped. I basically used his flyer. He helped make a lot of the rules for that tournament prior to me running it. And then his brother asked what he liked, and I said Baker's doubles, and I said, if you want to do something, we definitely can, but let's just do regular doubles this time. And we have some pretty good names coming in, local names, and Anthony Pepe.
Yep.
So he's
kind of national. I mean, he's
great. He's
done well on
very
the
national
tour.
Yeah, he's a pretty big name coming up to bowl. But we have a lot of good local talent. Steve Wagner,
Nick Lucia will be here.
RJ
Martinez, Steve Wagner.
Brandon Boyer is pretty good. He's from Glens Falls. Jess Aiza, she's good. She actually led our squad at the NEBA.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
She tore it up.
She did really well. And it's 39 feet, Don Carter. So there's going to be a good amount of volume, and it's going to be 39 feet, so there should be hook out there. And we have a lot of guys who just knew John who are bowling as well, so it should be a good tournament. We're full for the second shift, and we got some spots for the first shift.
Yeah, I mean, every time I came in here, he was just the kindest, nicest dude. And, like, if you wanted to ask him a question, he would just be there to answer it. And he'd be happy to obviously drill you a ball or whatever. But, like, I don't think there was ever, like, a time that it would be inconveniencing John. You know what I mean? Like, he just was super easygoing and kind and a nice guy. So I do miss John. He was a super nice guy. Great guy.
Yeah. Did a lot for a lot of people.
Yes.
Helped them out. So, yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend. You're bowling second shift.
I am bowling with my man Nick. We won the doubles, Super Bowl doubles back in 09. No, it wasn't that long.
2019.
Yeah.
2020.
2020. No, 19. Was it 20?
No, it was 20 because it was before the
pandemic. That's right. Yeah. And then we couldn't defend our title this year. But yeah, Nick Harris and myself will be bowling in the doubles this weekend, and we expect to win.
Okay. It's not past 42 feet, so you got a challenge ahead of you.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting better on that, though.
Austin's bowling. Our producer, Austin.
Yeah. Austin, who are you bowling with?
My father, Artie VanBuren.
Yeah.
Lefty on 39 feet. Watch out. Already knows how to bowl, baby.
Yeah, especially like we said, when the money's on the line.
There's nobody better when there's money on the line.
Artie's
nobody
coming.
So they're bowling you guys bowling the first shift, I think, Austin?
Yeah, 9 a.m.
9 a.m., yeah. Austin needs the oil.
Are we re-oiling for finals?
Nope. Nothing.
Oh.
Nada.
So if he makes the finals, it's going to be toaster oven.
Yeah, but there's a lot of volume out there. It's kind of like a Nationals volume pattern. So hopefully we see a lot of skid. A little bit of a tighter look in the beginning, and hopefully they should open up a little bit because you know how the PBA patterns open up.
Yeah.
A lot of guys they can wheel it left pretty well. So it should be a pretty good look, especially with the wood. I tried to, you got to try and even it out to give everybody a fair shot here. So.
All right. So the Masters finished up on Sunday. Thomas Larson was the winner over.
Yeah, going foreigner. He's from Denmark, right? Denmark, I believe.
One of those, Scandinavian countries? Yeah.
Him and Jesper.
Yeah.
Right up the gut.
Yeah, and he beat Spencer Robards, right? Or did Spencer make it to the finals, or he got?
No, Spencer
he got knocked out just before then. But
right, and then he had to bowl Jesper.
18 years old, and made it to the semifinals.
Guy's good. Kid's pretty good.
Yeah,
he had a really good look with that urethane.
Yep.
And I it's interesting because the righties, except for Sterner, excuse me for thinking, there was 3 righties on the show. Both of them threw resin, 2 threw resin. Chris Vai threw the High Road Max, and then Larson threw a Zen. But the only righty who threw urethane was Sterner, and Robarge had to bowl from the beginning on. And with the urethane, I thought his carry went away a little bit. His strike percentage went down as he bowled. Just because I think he kind of lost a little bit of the back ends. And so my dad was like, who do you think is going to win? And I said, well, if Larson wins this match against Robarch, he will win because the right was almost virtually untouched. You know what I mean? So I thought that he had a little bit of a better reaction, and then Svensson hadn't had a shot to bowl on that yet, and Robarch had 4 games on it.
Yeah.
So how was that urethane transition there?
Right.
That was just, what I was thinking.
What I took away from that show was the oil.
It was sweet. I love that red.
I thought it was actually horrifying. Like it looked like a freaking murder scene. Like it was so weird looking with the red oil on the lane. The interesting part was that you could see it a lot better than I don't know if it was the blue versus the red.
Contrast?
Yeah, I don't know if it was the blue versus the red that you could see the pattern better, but red was not a good choice in my opinion. It just looked
like
bad.
The red. Looks like a sea of blood. Mitch Young.
It does.
That's what everybody keeps saying.
Blood.
I like the red.
You do.
I did. I think blue gets boring. I think it kind of gets too blended together. Like blue is blue. Like
blue is blue. Yeah, I don't know what that means exactly, but
but blue, like the red, there's a few different shades. When you buff it out, I feel like the blue
shades of blue too.
I know, but I feel like the blue just gets lost in camera.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I just the red is just very weird looking. It just looks like blood all over the lane.
I mean, what would you rather have? What color would you prefer?
None.
Yeah, but I don't like that. I like having
I'm a classic.
You're a traditionalist.
I don't like the color in the oil, and I don't think that the bowlers that are watching, the people that
I think it's interesting. I want to see what the lanes look like.
I mean, I think it shows it a little bit, but anyway, so the U.S. Open is coming up.
Yeah.
This is insane. The amount of not just bowling, but the type of bowling that they're doing, the type of qualifying. They've got 4 rounds of qualifying. First, you have to make it through 3 rounds to get to the 4th round,
which is the cashier's round,
right? Mm-hmm. But it's still a round of qualifying. The 4th round is before you.
Do they all bowl the 4th round?
No,
I didn't think so.
Right, but it's still considered the 4th round is still considered a round of qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
And each round of qualifying is bowled on a different pattern.
A different brutal pattern.
They are all brutal. I think what was the max of day 1?
1-1.
Well, 1-1 was round 2. Yeah, and that was that's the toughest pattern I think anybody's ever bowled on. It's just insane. Like
they've used that for a few years, right? That's the one Tommy Jones won on a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a long time they were using that, and then they switched to this format where they actually introduced multiple patterns throughout the tournament, which I also like because it means that the bowlers can
more chance, more opportunities.
Not even more opportunity to test them more, right? Like they have to test more of their skills.
But I feel like it can also help certain players. Like
sure.
if I'm bowling versus you like to play on the longer patterns, a little more left. Mm-hmm. If I'm bowling, I might. Not going to say I would bowl well on the 40-foot flat, but I would probably prefer the shorter stuff to keep my angles in front of me. So it's going to kind of balance it out a little bit. Like you're going to have your kind of heyday, and I'm going to try to have my heyday. Is that a good word?
No, I totally agree. It kind of evens it out, but at the same time, these patterns are so darn hard that there's zero miss room on all of them. Who picked off the 6'8" or 6'9" the other day? Yeah.
Legendary.
I mean,
that guy's gonna be remembered forever.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw it, and I was like, "All right, okay."
It just kept going. It kept going.
Did you mean to throw it there, sir?
Yeah. I mean, if we Austin, can you bring up the house shot that we have in there? I mean, look at the difference between a house shot and the 1-1. The 1-1 is the same amount of oil across the lane.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then go back to the house shot. Mountain.
Right.
It's crazy.
So if people don't know what they're looking at here, the darker blue in the middle is when it oils on the way down and on the way back. The light blue is on the way down, and it looks like the darker shades are on the way back. If they're really dark, they're combined forward and reverse.
Right.
And the lighter blue is just on the way down. So as you can see, there's a huge mountain in the middle. If you look at the little thing in the middle there, or at the bottom, that shows where the higher the bar, more oil in the middle. So you can see how there's really nothing on the outside, and there's a huge, like Kyle said, mountain in the middle. You can look at the graph there, and then let's flip over to the 1-1. Boom.
No forgiveness whatsoever.
Right. So when we talked a few weeks ago about ratios, there is oil the same amount all the way across the lane.
Right.
There's no shape to the pattern. It's a square, rectangle. I almost said triangle. It's a square
geometry
or rectangle, whatever you want to call it. So that's insanely hard. We bowled on that here, and I'm pretty sure I shot 150.
Yeah,
that was 2 years ago, I think.
You have to make your spares on that shot, and you have to be able to, if you want to strike, you have to throw it the same exact way every single time and hit your mark, or at least be able to start to break down the lane and hope that everyone else is going to break down the lane the same way you are. So that you can create a little bit of area. But on that shot, there is just zero forgiveness.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
we should bowl on it.
I'm ready to go. Let's do it right now.
I actually I put the pattern in for the Master. The Masters was last week, right? I'm sorry. Yes, this is the U.S. Open. Last week was the Masters. I put the Masters pattern in into the computer. So I found it. I screenshotted it, and I put it in a file so we can bowl on if we want.
Sweet.
And then if we keep these, I can put them in too, just to see how they are.
Yeah.
To see how bad I really am.
They are very hard.
I want to go bowl it next year. I'm going to go bowl it.
Do it.
I'm going to go do it.
Do it.
Once in a lifetime opportunity for me to show how bad I am.
You just have to get through the PTQ.
I can do that.
and if you lose after one day, then you just go home.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I did watch the Brad and Kyle though when they were talking about the four patterns.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because they were like, okay, we have practice today.
You can turn those off, by the way.
I changed it.
Sorry, Anthony's getting overtaken by the comments because these guys are just rude.
Anyways, I watched them kind of bowl a little bit, and they were talking about how hard it was and everything, and how nobody bowled the cashers round. Like they oil like every so often, like every 3 hours they flip that pattern over. And Brad and Kyle were like, yeah, nobody showed up for the last set, which is the cashers round. Because they're like, there's no point. If you get there, congratulations, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
There's no reason to go there and see like, oh, what do I do on that pattern? Because if you get there, it doesn't matter. You cashed your set.
Yeah. Nobody's watching to see where they should bowl.
Right, exactly. It doesn't really make a difference, but urethane's a big play out there.
I saw that. I saw that a lot of people are using urethane.
Butterf used a U2. Remember that, Paul? Columbia 300 U2. I found one in my basement. It was my brother's.
Well, that's interesting because part of the qualifying is that you have to pick your 10 balls that you're going to use for the entire 3 rounds of qualifying.
Right.
So he had to choose that after his practice session.
You had to say, that's it right there.
Right. So
that's what we're going to use. Like YouTube from 1980 that I plugged. It's been plugged 4 times, but it rolls good.
And how about that? He's like, I know which one I'm getting. I know which one's going to work. I'm going to get the U2. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy to even see that he even brought it out. But it looked like a few people had a lot of older stuff. Not a lot of older stuff, but Simonson had a tank. And I was like, my dad's like, it's a tank. And I'm like, he can't throw motive. And he's like, no, that was an old Storm or Rotogrip ball from back in the day. He went out and bought it. He actually used it on the show. One of the shows,
really?
He used an older ball. So
I think you're thinking of the grenade.
Is it a grenade?
Yeah, I think it's called a grenade.
There we go. Grenade.
Yeah, one destroying mechanism or another. It's a tank or a grenade right now, either way.
Yeah, but at least we know which one it is.
Yeah, no, but I'm amazed that I love the fact that they actually make you pick which bowling balls you're going to use for those 3 rounds of qualifying.
That's how it should be.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
Actually, I think in the PBA they do that. You get like 8 bowling balls, but you don't have to check them in. So you can bring 16, but if you're switching, like you're gonna be like, okay, this is the ball I need to use. If I put it on the rack, it has to be written down. So you only get 8, but you can bring 16. And like if you know that your Rotogrip Hustle isn't gonna be the ball and you don't use it, you can have it in the bag. You just can't mark it down. If you use a different ball, you can just mark that down. So you only get a limited amount. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you have to write down what you've used.
Yes, and you only get like 8 or something like that.
Yep. Okay. Which is, how does it work when they go drill a ball? I guess it's between qualifying.
Yeah,
they refresh after qualifying. You're
Yeah.
allowed to restart, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. You get to
But
restart.
this is
10 for 3 days.
right. So
I
that's
heard
what
Chris Prather talk about it.
Right. So that's what I was thinking was, okay, we've been talking about, after 9 or 10 games, you start to get, lane shine on the ball.
Yeah, I think you can surface them between shifts, I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure you can.
Well, of course you can clean them and surface them. Yeah. But
during the middle of a block.
Yeah. It's still amazing that you have to stick with the 10, but you do get to then update after the third round of qualifying. So if you make it to the cashers round, which is the fourth round of qualifying, you can then redo your 10.
Right.
And then once you get to the show, you get to decide where to go from there.
Prather was talking about it and said he had too many solid cover stocks. He's like, I wasn't thinking. He's like, I only got 2. Yeah, he was like, I picked 8 solid cover stocks or urethane. And then he said, I only picked 2 pearl bowling balls. They're not polished for him, but he said only one's good when I go straight up the lane, and the other one's a little bit more versatile. But he's like, I think I picked too many solid ones because when I get to this pattern, then I'm going to be in trouble because I'm trying to keep my angles closed and get the ball to roll early. And it was very interesting to listen to him talk. And he has hair just like I do. It's just everywhere. So I like to listen to him.
Not sure I know what that means.
It's just like he doesn't care, it is what it is.
Yeah, but that's interesting that he didn't pick anything shined up. You would think like you said, he had
pearl
1 or
cover
2.
stocks. Is that what he's throwing?
On the grenade. Nice.
Daggum.
So some notables from the U.S. Open. As you said, Jacob Butterf is like running the show right now. He's in first. Unknown guy, Chris Barnes. He's in third right now.
Did you ever find out about that Boohoo guy?
No, you said you were going to look him up.
I did.
Okay, tell me about him.
He's really good.
Is he?
I don't know. I didn't look him up. I forgot about Chris Boohoo.
Brent Boho from Indianapolis, Indiana.
It's Boohoo.
It's Boho. Anyway, he's in 12th. But there's a lot of guys that just like the Masters. There's a lot of guys that don't necessarily make a lot of television shows. So it seems to bring out more people that are still highly skilled, but they don't make those PBA events.
Danielle McEwen.
Yeah, Danielle McEwen, I think, is high for the women, and she's in 43rd right now. But she hasn't bowled her last block.
Right? She was in like 12th or something, right?
Before everybody started, she was in 23rd or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So as long as everything goes well this last shift, she might make the cut. Hopefully she does, because going all that way, and not physically to Reno, but going all that way as far as bowling well, and then drop out not drop out of the tournament, but drop down.
Yeah. You see that Jillian girl bowled too? Jillian Martin.
No, I didn't notice.
She made the Big Four.
Oh, that's right. I did see that.
They were talking about. She's like, "What's the biggest difference between the men or the women or something?" And she's like, "Well, the men bowl a lot faster, and you move a lot farther left, a lot quicker." I was like, "Well, that probably makes sense." But she did say that in there. But she's pretty good.
Yeah, she's in 76th right now. She's only at -40, which is really like
probably
if I went to the Open and shot -40. I'd be pretty content, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would try to be, even.
We all want to bowl better, but like -40 is pretty good.
-40 is really good
for that shot.
All right, let's see. We got our friends are in the comments here. We're gonna run our own. Okay, our friends are gonna run our own. We should run our own Masters, the TNC Masters, 4 patterns.
I love it. See
who can compete and who can't.
Yeah, our buddy Bill O'Neill is in 6th place. He's friend of the show.
Yeah,
come
on.
So
Bill wins, we're gonna get him right on the show for his victory. We're gonna get him on like breaking news. Bill O'Neill. We're gonna get him on here first. You think you can make that happen? You and him are like best buds.
Yeah, I'll just hit him up, hit him on the hip. Alrighty. Anyway, so that's what's going on in the U.S. Open. They're out in Reno, but we are heading to Vegas.
Little bit closer to home. Isn't Reno farther?
Reno is closer.
We're going a little farther.
We're going farther.
Yeah. Thanks for laughing at my.
No,
I'm pretty sure they're close, but I'm pretty sure Reno's
farther. A little south of Vegas, so it's like by miles. It might be like
boom
spitting distance of
Mark one for me here.
Okay. I'm not really sure. We'll have to check it. Austin, check the mileage.
See how far my father and your father are driving. Which one's closer?
So this past Sunday, you had some guys come in and bowl on the doubles and singles pattern. They practiced for our trip to Vegas, right?
We did. It was good and bad because we haven't bowled on a doubles and singles pattern since last lockdown. So it's been about a year, right? I would say about actually no, we did. We did bowl once prior. We did bowl on Sunday. Guys were willing to bowl on Easter, so thumbs up to those guys. We had about, I think at the end of the day, we had 13 people here. Some guys were late, some guys had work, some guys had other commitments. So we did. Vegas is also 75 miles closer
to Albany.
Yes.
Nice.
So thanks, Austin.
Remove that win from Anthony's chalkboard.
Mark one from me. I'm gonna get a whiteboard here.
Wait, no, that's right. You did. That's right. You said Vegas was closer. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
Okay, so I did mark it back for me. Thank you. So we did bowl. Had a few guys. Thanks for coming out, guys. Second time we bowled on something like this week or this year. It was all good and bad. We had a few good things, like we talked about breaking down the lanes. One of our guys, Phil, he was really, really focused on breaking down lane. I mean, in practice, he was, and even on the doubles and singles pattern, he was just throwing it like right up 8. It seemed like with a Omega Crux or an IQ Tour. They were both sanded at 500.
He's got a nice hand for this pattern. These patterns,
he does.
Too.
He can really. I think he could really do well out there. But he bowled right around there. We had Heath Boyle, John Mahali, Andrew Apollo, and I can't remember if we had somebody else on our lane. It might have just been us in the beginning and me. And I'm left-handed, so I don't count. But they played right around the same area, all 4 of them. So the lane really broke down nicely for them. I don't really know if they wanted to do that or they were thinking about it. But just the way kind of things happened, the lane developed really nicely. Phil went plus 26 on the doubles and singles for 3 games. So, we got some exposure to some guys. We were showing, what the skill level is out there, how your equipment really needs to be prepped or ready out there. What type of equipment you need, what's different from league night to that caliber of a shot. Guys can use stronger bowling balls, more surface, stronger layouts. I feel like you want a more flaring layout out there until you kind of break it down. So shorter pin to PAPs. We've been talking about that, you and I. What else was good out there? How effective surface really is. And I think that's our topic for today.
It is.
So to just tie things in a little bit, surface was I had 2 bowling balls at 1,500 and 1 ball at 1,000. When I bowled on my lane, my pair for 3 games, I was plus 40 for 3 games with 2 low 200 games, like 2020. I had like a 230 in there. And then we bowled the jackpot game after that, and I moved to my lane to the right where Artie had bowled. Another left-hander, Austin's dad, and he played a little farther in. I played. I think it was 15. I don't know if I was really hooking it this much because your eyes are a little bit different, and I'm just going off of what I'm seeing myself. So I was like 12 to 5, 15 to 5, somewhere around there. 5 is my break point because I could get it pretty close to the edge. And I had 2 balls that were surfaced up to 1,500, my Game Breaker 4 and my Damn Good Verge. And they rolled really, really well. And then when I moved pairs, I didn't surface anything for the jackpot game. And we just bowled 3 games. And I was like minus 30 for 1 game. My ball just never rolled up in the right spot like it was on the other lane. It just kept going a little too far. And then when we got done, I was like, okay, I'm going to surface this ball up. And I surfaced them up. And what do you know? Boom, I started reeling them off again. So it was good to see that, what we're preaching to the guys and what we're saying on here, surface is key. Yep. It is that's a lot of pins that I gave up the second game just because I wasn't prepped and ready. So Austin bowled, and I have in here Austin ... So Austin, what was your successes? What was your failures or successes from just this practice?
This was an odd practice for me because I played a part of the lane that I usually wouldn't play. I tried playing a little more square down the right side of the lane. But surface was huge. I could not use anything that was polished. The ball went way too long through the fronts, and it just never had enough to recover. So I believe I threw the Web MB at 1,000. That was my best game. I had a high 220 game with a split in the 10th frame, so could have been a lot more. But and then I switched to my Web Tour hybrid at, I think I had it at 1,500, and I honestly kept inching right, hoping that I could just keep seeing the early friction with it. And that's not my A game, so scores went down drastically. But I think I ended up like minus 40 for 3.
Yeah, that's not bad, especially just coming out. Just because I feel like we weren't necessarily going for. We were.
Somebody wants to see it.
Oh, we weren't necessarily going for score so much. I mean, I wanted to score well, but we were just trying to see what's going to work and what's not going to work out there. So for guys who want to drill things or what they're missing, it's, we can make a better read on what we're going to do. So what we need to work on is making sure all of our players understand the surface, what you have to do to prep them, spare shooting, how to shoot spares on both different patterns because they're worlds apart. And do we use a strategy for doubles and singles like we want to use for teams? Do we try to? Do we put some guys who play a little more down and in to break down the lane like they did on our pair? I feel like Austin's pair, he had him, Zach Bailey, who play a little more in. I can't even remember who, Alex Pago, who's down and in, and Art. And I can't remember. Somebody else was there.
I mean, I wasn't able to be there to see what Austin's ball was doing, but it seems to me like if the ball's having a hard time recovering, then instead of moving to the right, you maybe want to try next time getting closer to the head pin.
Yeah, it's definitely a thought. But the good thing is that we had a lot of successes and we had a lot of this is what we need to get better at.
Experiences. Not failures, but learning experiences.
Right. Well, I wrote on here what needs work, and I feel like trying to play it to the right for him. This is the time to try. I know we have a little more friction here, but we've talked about it before. They play very similar to out there. We do have a little bit more hook. But it's really a good time to see what you can do, what balls work pretty well. So I thought it was a good thing, but surface prep for players and equipment is the biggest thing we're going to have to go ahead and look at.
Sorry to interrupt. Grego, that says to avoid injury, don't tell me how to do my job. That's what that sign says.
Thanks to Jared, a guy who worked. He made me that in his 3D printer.
That's right. So he made this sign. He made our new red ball cup here. It says Down Lane Podcast, which, by the way, did you mention?
I did mention something about it.
Did you mention that they would get a ball cup?
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is, since we have 26 comments that I can't look at because I'm just laughing today. I'm in a giggly mood, I guess.
Giggly mood, and Jeremy's just he tried calling me like, I don't know. Jeremy's in his own world and his own mood tonight. So
what we're going to do is, I don't know how Kyle's doing it.
I'm doing it.
Well,
I already posted it. It's
so
on
there's
Facebook.
a form out there
on
for
Facebook.
everybody on the comment section or who's watching this. Austin, myself, and Kyle, we're going to bowl tonight, and we want to know who's going to have the higher score. And
it's the total. Whoever guesses the right bowler and the closest total by 10 pins, within 10 pins, plus or minus, doesn't matter.
We want to make sure you're within 10 pins. You got to be within 10 pins. We're going to give you a free ball cup made by our wonderful friend Jared, and
he doesn't know that he's been. He doesn't know he's been commissioned to do this.
Jared, I will call you later. And it says down. Why don't we do my cameras right there?
Because Austin's got this camera up.
Can you see it? Anyways, it says Down Lane Podcast on it. Let's see if you can see that. That's not bad. It's actually engraved in there. Yep. We're gonna get you guys now, Mitch. If you do win, you're gonna have to pay for shipping and handling. Down Lane Podcast there. We're going to get you guys one of those. And he says they're almost indestructible. I do hammer things on them and they haven't broke yet. So they're good. But so that's what we're going to do. We're going to have people guess. So
should we tell them our averages to make it a little easier for them?
I mean, yeah, I think it'll make it easier.
230.
I'm 236.
I'm also 230.
There we go. We're all about this.
Did you forget that you were in? But yeah, so we had a good weekend with everything. We also watched the Masters, the final, and we were talking about that as well. So things are going good, and we're getting our first team practice on Saturday at noon.
That's right. Oh, yes, yeah, we're coming in noon on Saturday. We're getting the team shot from 2019.
Right.
There was no 2020.
Right. So we're going to be working on that. try to get our guys ready a little bit more, some more equipment, see what's going on with their stuff, and then we can make some adjustments and get our guys in the right stuff, right balls in their hand, and we can kind of work into that strategy that we've been talking about.
That's right. Yeah, we want to get people working together, trying to break down the lane, and like you said, even on doubles and singles, you can break down the lane as much as you can.
You can, as long as you get with the right players, which you can also companion code, as the USBC called it.
Right. Exactly. It's exactly right.
Oh.
I just want to say, currently, and it's embarrassing that you people think that he's this good, because I don't know if people know, there's a national champion in the room. But
I'm assuming, I'm not even looking, but I'm assuming that they're picking me.
Yeah.
Lefty love.
There's only been 2 responses, but
that's okay. They both pick me.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, when you shoot 817 the week before and you just really show out, I mean, it's tough not to pick that guy.
All right, well, let's get so we were talking about Surface.
We briefly touched on it.
Yeah. So why don't we explain to people, why do we adjust Surface? What do we do to adjust Surface, et cetera, et cetera? Let's go through the motions of Surface.
Why do you adjust Surface?
I want my ball to do something different.
Okay. So I guess for me, if I'm looking at it myself, is if I'm bowling on a pattern, let's say nationals, or let's say there's a lot of volume out there, a lot of the times you want your ball to slow down more to try to create friction on the lane. So, you need something that has a lower grit to it, because the lower the grit, they go down really low. I don't use anything under 500. I know a few guys have thrown 360, 180. I don't go lower than 500. But you can sand your ball to create more friction on the lane. And it also keeps your cover stock a little fresher to create friction to throw more strikes. So I use it to create the proper ball motion down lane, whether it needs to be earlier or later, and depending on the lanes and the amount of oil I'm bowling on. So lower lower the pad, which we'll get into those. The lower the number, the earlier the ball is going to want to roll, which means the less down lane motion you're going to have, and the higher up number you have. The more down lane motion you're going to have, and the less up front you're going to have. And I think polish we'll just throw in there as that's just like 5,000 grit.
Right.
That is the least amount of friction you can create. And it's very snappy off the dry, and it's very do nothing in the oil. It creates a very over-under reaction. And I don't recommend using polish unless you really play the dry part of the boards.
Right. And you can actually polish the ball too.
Yes, you can actually polish the ball. They come factory finish. You can also polish them. You can take them out. You can take the polish off. It just depends on what you want to do. So that's how we do that. And then what do we use to adjust the surface with? I have them here. These here are Aberlon pads. Let's see, this is a 3,000 pad. I don't typically use the 3,000 pad. The backside is just kind of the numbers on it. These are a little fresher. They do go bad after a while, but that's 3,000. That's kind of up the scale. This is 1,000 here, so this is going to be more friction here. It's going to create a lot more than 3,000. And in the middle is 2,000. I know I skipped it. This is going to be 2,000 here. I usually use 2,000 a lot of stuff. 1,000 when I really need a lot of roll. Probably at nationals, I'm thinking about 500, possibly. And then this is here. It says 2,000, but you usually carry 500 pads. So the ones you normally carry in your bag is a 500, a 1,000, a 2,000. I never go to 3,000, but you never know.
Yeah,
the righties might need it, and the lefties, I don't think you'll need 3,000. But those are the ones that I typically carry. With me to certain tournaments. What about you? Is there anything different?
No, I've carried 500 before, and I've used 500 at nationals, and it still went too long. but no, I use 500, 1,000, 2,000. I also have 3,000 in there, which I have used just to scuff the polish off of a brand new ball, to try to keep it close to what the box finish is. Not the box finish, but the box reaction. And instead of having that sharp angle and that, like you said, over under, because that's exactly what polish does for me. I take that 3,000 pad and scuff it up, and it's exactly what it does. It totally rounds it off instead of having that sharp angle. So that's what a nice 3,000 Aberlon pad does. But those are the ones that I carry in my bag also. I
don't even know if I carry 3. I feel like it doesn't do anything to my ball. I've tried. You got to put a lot of elbow grease.
Well, if it's a solid cover stock that's already at 2,000, if you go to 3,000, it's
but
it's not going to do much. But if you have a polished ball that you're trying to knock off, then it's going to do something.
Mine doesn't do much. I must not use enough elbow grease.
It's probably because you don't have any of these right here. These guns.
Those really helped me last week. But yeah, no, I usually use 2,000 on my polished stuff.
Yeah,
that's my preference. I use 1,500 on a lot of things. There's also Sire pads, which is Brunswick's version of it. They use them on their bowling balls. I don't know. I don't think Storm has their own. I think they just use normal Abralon pads. I believe you can use those these are like designed for cars.
Yeah. You can use sandpaper. I mean, it's the same thing. You can. I mean, that's how we used to refinish bowling balls on the spinner.
Yeah.
Water and sandpaper on a spinner.
I also have more information on that.
Yeah, I know.
Which is interesting. You read the outline. But there's also that, and then CTD, Cutting Edge. They're kind of a newer brand out there. They have CTD. That's what they call themselves. It's like cutting edge products. They have ones that they say do not go bad nearly as fast. They're more of a screen than like an Abralon pad, and they say you just knock off the dust and it takes away the. They get caked, as you can tell. Like this one here, that is a caked pad a little bit. So it's got a little bit of ball in there. So they actually do go bad. They kind of smoothen out.
Yeah,
so you need to have some new ones. But the CTD ones, they call them, they claim they don't go as bad as fast. But
probably because the screen can get either rinsed out or knocked out.
Yeah. And I used it and I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it. I tried to use like cleaner on it and then do it, and it was just weird.
You prefer the pads over that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I prefer what we're going to get into next is how do you do it correctly. I'd prefer hand sanding versus spinner. Yeah. So when you use a ball spinner, there's different speeds and stuff as well. Typically you have to lubricate the ball because or else it'll burn the pad right out. Like you'll burn it out. You'll lose that pad for one use. So water is usually preferred. You can use cleaner too if you want, but when you use the water, it kind of makes it a little shinier and it blends out the cut a little bit better, I should say. So when you go bowl, it also makes it a little more of a smoother reaction, a little more down lane because it's a little bit more shined.
Yeah.
For me.
It's also more even application of the sanding process.
Yes, correct. I like to use by hand because when you use by hand, it tends to get an earlier roll as well. So for me, I like to have an earlier roll just because that's what I prefer. A lot of guys use a spinner in here. I let them use a spinner, go at it, and they like to use a little bit. I don't know if they use water or not. Some guys are like, yeah, they don't use water. I would use water if I were you. Yeah. If you're going to use a spinner because it spins so fast. But when you use a spinner, it's typically a little more evenly applied. You're going to want to do 4 sides of the ball. I can't really show you how to do it here because there's not enough space. But yeah, those are kind of the two different ones. The spinner with the water will help it kind of be a little more applied. Yeah, I mean,
you can kind of describe it a little bit when the ball's sitting on a cup inside of a ball spinner and it spins really fast. I don't even know the RPMs, but it spins really fast. Then you take the Abralon pads in your hands and you could do 1 or you could do 2 and you hold it on the sides.
Spray water on there so it's a little bit
and then you could wet the pads themselves too.
Yeah, you can do fingers up, then you flip fingers down, then I do fingers to the side, and then fingers to the other side.
Think of the ball as in quadrants.
Quadrants.
So that you can spin it and attack the ball in all different locations. Right. Because if you kind of do it all in one area in one location, you can create literally flat spots depending on the type of, like if you're using 500, you can actually create a flat spot in the ball. And then if you do it in all 4 sides like you're supposed to, then you create more of a not even like a circle.
You hit all the corners.
Yeah, you get the more
corners on a circle. You hit all the corners.
All the corners on the circle. Yeah,
you hit every spot that you have to hit.
Yeah,
to make
it's more uniform, and you might be able to get that better reaction. That's not so smooth because you've crossed over different paths. Right. Just hitting it on the side and hitting it on the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I just prefer the hand just because it rolls earlier. But it also, I don't think it lasts as long. It shines up a little faster.
Yeah.
Do you clean it first? That's up to you. 100% up to you. I mean, I clean my stuff after every tournament, and then my prep is Before travel, everything's cleaned, surfaced. After I come back from a tournament, I clean it. I might not surface it unless I have a serious practice or a tournament. I don't usually surface my stuff for league play. I don't even use my tournament stuff for league play. I have league stuff that is a little different. But I don't really do too much to my stuff unless I'm going to go use it because it doesn't need to be used.
Yeah, I only surface mine based on what I think is needed.
Correct.
Like I don't bring the ball back and surface it unless I like that ball at X surface. But most of the time, if I bring a ball to a tournament and it does something, whatever, goes too long or it's too short, that's when I do.
You hit it then.
Exactly.
I always hit it prior just to make sure that I'm getting the reaction that I desire right out of the gate. So if I throw it and I know it's not looking good, I know that what I like isn't, I might have to go lower or I'm going to have to go to a different ball. Because I just like my stuff to look like charcoal. And that people
like that early read, yeah.
Yeah, I love the early read. Well, I throw it a little bit harder too. I have a higher rev rate, so I create down lane motion. I don't need help to get the ball to go through the pins. I want to slow it down a little bit faster.
Yep.
For you might like a little bit more of a higher surface on certain things.
Well, it depends, but I'm starting to like the ball to read a little earlier as well. So
seems like that's the play out at these tournaments too,
especially with the high volume of oil.
Yeah, at the two tournaments we were talking about, the Masters and the U.S. Open. A lot of guys are opting for shorter pin stuff that rolls, and they're hitting their stuff with like 360, 500 to get that really early roll, really steady, continuous motion, so that way they don't leave splits or they're throwing urethane.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems surface is really important. A lot of guys don't talk about it as much as it really should be. I had somebody tell me I was at like a Brunswick demo day or whatever back 2 years ago, and the head guy's like, yeah, I haven't thrown anything over 2,000 in like 7 years. I looked at the guy and said, you don't throw anything over 2,000 in 7 years? He's like, yeah, I hit everything with 2,000 or lower. I'm like, that's interesting. Helps you get the ball into a roll, but then it also bleeds off in the back.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you like.
Yeah. I would say that the most when's the last time you saw somebody throw a polished ball on tour, right? Yeah, like
I think I've seen
probably rarely ever happens anymore.
I think I've seen it, but with the lights being the way they are,
everything looks polished. But
exactly. So
I'm not saying I don't think.
I think a few guys do.
Polished.
I think a few guys do. If you actually watched this weekend, Larson before he went to the final match, I don't know if this is legal or not, but he was hitting the ball he just used with surface. He had an Abrolana pad in his hand, knocking off. Maybe
between games,
he was cleaning it up, or he was getting it back to what it was, or making it lower so it read earlier. So the pros use surface all the time. You can Brad and Kyle on their YouTube channel, they talk about it. A lot of the pros talk about it. It's very important to have.
Yep.
Very important. Is it a skill? I don't know, but it's something you should learn about. Talk to your pro shop operator about.
All right, guys, get your questions into the chat so that we can get them answered before we get out of here in a few minutes. You have anything else to say about surface before you get to Floyd's question?
No.
Good.
Don't think so.
Got it all out there. Not that
Abrolana pads can be your best friend.
That's true.
On sport shots or house shots, and that's in caps. I wrote that in caps.
Capital letters. So Floyd wants to know, how many times can you surface a modern day bowling ball before it is not effective any longer?
Great question that I don't have an answer to. I don't know. I mean, the ball gets smaller, but I mean, how many times can you do it? Phil James has a ball that he hits with 500 before we go practice at nationals every single time, or on the nationals pattern.
Yeah, nationals pattern.
Every single time, and he just keeps doing it. And the ball still crushes it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. It depends on how heavy
you
you
use it until the ball return doesn't pick it up anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. when it starts to get stuck over and over and over again,
that's
when you know.
Time to get rid of it.
Time to get rid of it.
That's right. Mitch Young wants to know, I picked up an Arctic Sniper from Motive yesterday, and I've been told it is very sought after. Can you tell me what is so special about it?
I'm pretty sure it's just a spare ball. They just might not make it anymore.
Oh.
I'll look it up because I remember I drilled one a while ago. Arctic Sniper by Motive. I just don't really know that much about the Motive stuff, to be honest with you. It is a spare ball. I know that for a fact, and it's probably just because it's a little bit older. I don't think they make this anymore. Oh, it's a urethane, DMX urethane. I'm sure it does hook a little. These do hook a little bit, but I don't know if there's anything special about them or not.
Does it have a core?
Cool,
does it have a core in it?
It's got a hollow point, so it's kind of like a pancake. They call it a hollow point for motive.
Okay.
But it comes 5500 grit laser scan polished. So I'm assuming that that's just a spare ball, but it's probably something they don't make anymore.
Okay. I was gonna say it sounds kind of like my my hammer that I have. It's a pancake that had a somewhat of a polished finish on it, but I knocked it off, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jack wants to know what our preferred surface is.
It depends. I'll stay within 1,000, 2,000. I don't typically need to go 500. 1,000 or 2,000, that's good.
I like to try to stay original. I don't love to mess too much. Like I won't resurface a ball, like let it sit on a ball resurfacing machine because I think it ruins it. But
you hate when I even touch your stuff.
That's true.
You hate that.
But if I need to change the surface, then I'll drop it down a little bit. But I like to keep it as close to original, except for polished. Like polished.
Yeah, right.
Polish off. But
yeah, take the polish off.
But I try to keep it close to the original because I don't like to mess with cover stocks too much.
I think I know what you're saying. To be honest with you, I've had a few balls that do not take. Just so everybody knows out there, certain bowling balls do not take surface adjustments well at all. They do not.
Right.
And I don't know what it is, but some of them just don't take it. And I've noticed a few. I'm like, man, that just doesn't roll.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it just is DOA. It just stopped working.
Right.
Yeah.
It just so just be careful with that. You can always bring it back to the factory if you have to. The Ringing 10.
The Ringing 10. Welcome to the show, Ringing 10.
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the red oil over the blue oil on the TV show? I think we can contrast on this.
Yes, we definitely do. Cover it at the top of the show, but we will definitely go back over it.
Wow, way to be. You're an angry elf.
Listen, I'm an angry elf about it. I think it looks like a murder scene, and I do. If I had to choose between dye, it would be the blue over the red, but I would choose no dye at all.
Okay, well, that's not what this gentleman asked. I would like the red.
I know, but I would take blue over red.
I think the red is just beautiful. There's so much more contrast in it.
Yeah, you can see the
so much better. The only thing I didn't like is that the lane with the shine on it and the cameras and the lights, it did give it a little bit of a funny look rolling down the lane. The blue oil, you don't have that.
Like watching the ball go down the lane.
It was tougher to see it. But I just like it because I feel as if it's a better it's just a better look. I think you can see more about it. And I think that's more, for me, it's more interesting. The better bowler will understand that better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Scene from The Shining.
I like that.
Everybody was like in agreement on that.
Nice.
So what do we got next,
Austin? I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Brackets during leagues. Do you prefer paper or plastic? That's Jeremy, because I have a new program I had to get ready for this weekend, and he has his own. Brackets by Jeremy is a thing now. He does them all by paper, and I wanted to use computer, and I prefer the computer, Jeremy, even though I messed everything up. I'm sorry.
Mitch, I like this question. Would you like to see the USBC start their own pro tour to give us more action on the pro scene? Me personally, I don't want to see two separate professional tours.
Then we're getting into fishing.
Okay.
Fishing has 3 separate pro tours.
But what I like about the USBC is that it seems like their scoring pace is a lot lower. The patterns are a lot harder. At least for some people, they're a lot lower.
Well, they get a different shape. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah. With the Kegel machines, they're able to do a lot more.
Yes, and I think that the guys who work with the Kegel machines do things differently. Like the tour, you get used to the same shape. Mm-hmm. It's either the gutter or you're lofting the gutter cap. Right. On the gutter, lofting the gutter cap. And on the USBC side, you can kind of play almost anywhere, and you don't have to loft it as much.
Yeah.
But it seems as if urethane comes out a lot more in those patterns than you do see in the pro side. The pro side, you still see it, but it's not as prevalent. Like everybody's throwing urethane this week.
Do you think that is because of the patterns, or do you think it's because of the difficulty that they need? I don't know, that they need that early roll, that they need. What do you think?
I think it's just because it's they're flatter.
Yeah,
they're much flatter.
And you don't want that crazy reaction off the back end, right? Like
you don't
just want that steady.
You're just trying to hit the pocket and knock 9 down.
Right, 9, just 9. That's all I want. Please 9.
Yeah, that's what guys are. Guys are literally like, "Oh, we scored so good today. Thank God, because on the 40-foot flat, we're gonna shoot 160."
Yeah,
like it's not gonna be easy. There's no shape to the pattern. You just have to pray you get 8 or I'll take even 8.
Yeah.
If I'm out there, I'm
as long as they're both on the same side of the lane.
Yeah. I will take 8 all day long if they're next to each other. But if I get 9, I'm ecstatic.
That's right.
When are we getting DLP apparel?
When we start making money on the show.
That's right.
When the show doesn't cost. That's right.
Like, subscribe, comment. That will bring your apparel faster.
When the show doesn't cost us money, then we'll get some DLP apparel that we can sell. That's why you guys got to help us out. You got to share the show and get us out there in the world so that we get some thousands of views that get us.
Thanks, Jeremy.
That get us some views.
Our dogs, they're both cute.
But yeah, there we go.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Jeremy, keeping the comments lively as usual. But yeah, thanks guys for checking in with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Please, like we said, share us with your friends. Don't forget to check out the what was I going to say? Check out the contest, the weekly contest that we just started tonight.
Boom.
Who is going to bowl better tonight? Anthony, myself, or Austin? Go to Facebook.
Am I still in the lead?
What's that?
Am I still in the lead?
Let me refresh. Go to the Facebook page. You'll find the link. You are still in the lead because people haven't gone to the link yet. You'll find the link to vote for who's going to bowl better tonight, and that when you vote, you have to vote for who's going to bowl better, what their 4-game series is going to be, and whoever picks the right person and is closest.
Jeremy wants a finals broadcast on Tuesday.
Okay, whoever is picks the right person and is closest will win the Downlane Podcast Ball Cup.
I don't know where to put this.
3D printed by our friend Jared
Negron. Anyways, yeah, I mean, also Mitch said we got to have a instructional video on Aberlon pads.
I agree. Well, maybe we'll drop that this week.
Boom, boom, bang, bang. Do it.
Yeah, we'll drop that this week, and we'll have.
Yeah. Anything else you guys have questions about? We did have a few other topic ideas.
Yeah, email the show, please. Email us
what you guys want to know. We will give you the best information that we can.
That we can, and that we know, and that we believe we're experts at.
Never said we were an expert. I said we were trying to help.
Believe we're experts at. Whoa, Anthony's microphone.
Perfect time for that.
Tighten that up. All right, guys. So we're going to head out to go bowling. Don't forget, like I said, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Catch us on Facebook, Instagram, the Twitter. If you can't watch the show, you can download and listen to us on any major podcast outlet. Literally, I think every one of them. You can download it. We were just checking out our stats, which you're never supposed to do, and we have downloads all over the world. I'm not even joking. Like Austria.
Downlane Podcast worldwide.
Yeah, we are. That's it. Boats and all right. I'm not going to say it. He's literally dropping.
What is going on with this thing? This is why I don't handle any of the technical things before I get in here.
My goodness, we are dropping.
What about a live Sunday final for the Drexel double? That's Tyler Drexel.
Tyler Drexel. That's right. John's nephew. Yeah. We could certainly make that out or make that work. I think and hope.
As long as you're not in the finals.
That's right.
Or Austin. Hopefully, well, let's say it'd be cool to have both of you in there.
That's right.
But if you guys both do it, I am not doing it by myself.
He can barely make the microphone.
I can barely sing this day, for God's sake.
All right. So, like I said, if you can't catch the show, download us on any major podcast outlet. And then, of course, you can always go to YouTube at any time to rewatch the show. Email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. Thank you to our producer, Austin VanBuren, Jack Scaccia, the proprietor at Town and Country Lanes. Thank you to Anthony. It's a great show tonight. Thank you very much.
What? Do you mean that?
Almost 50%. I mean it.
50%. It was good. It was good. Look, Mitch Young, he's going to come up and cast the show via Zoom.
Boom. All the way.
Wait, no, he can. Yeah, he can Zoom. We can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Cool. Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan. We will see you next week. This is Downlane Podcast.